You might have heard that Anthropic recently released Claude Opus 4.6. But what you might have missed is that they also released Claude Teams. Claude Teams allows you to instruct Claude to assemble a team of AI agents which can work on tasks parallelly, get things done, and report back to a team lead. In this video, I'm going to quickly show you how you can use Claude Teams with Mirrordy for Teams to allow your AI agents to not only develop in parallel, but also test the code they write against the same shared Kubernetes environment. Applications today are made up of a bunch of microservices. When you're working on a particular microservice and want to test out your code changes, you end up having to set up all the other things which that microservice needs locally. This step of creating a personal dev environment for each agent or developer can be avoided with Mirrordy. Mirrordy allows each agent to run its code locally, but mirrors incoming and outgoing traffic, files, and environment variables between the locally running service and its counterpart in the Kubernetes cluster. You can use a Kubernetes cluster like your staging or pre-prod environment where the application is already deployed. To see how your locally written code changes to a particular service behave, you can run it with Mirrordy, and then when you send a request to your staging endpoint, Mirrordy will intercept that and forward it to the correct agent based on the header filter. Mirrordy also mirrors outgoing traffic. So if your locally running service B on agent 3 needs to talk to service A, that request sent from the local machine would be mirrored to service B in the cluster, and it will be able to communicate with service A and send back a response to the agent. This way, multiple AI agents and developers can safely use a shared Kubernetes environment without having to worry about breaking the environment for everyone. We also have features like database branching, queue splitting, and Mirrordy policies, which make this shared development even safer. You can learn more about these in our docs. Now let's see how you can do parallel development and testing by combining Claude Teams and Mirrordy for Teams. Here I have my prompt in a markdown file where I'm working with a shopping cart application and instructing Claude to create a team of 3 developers. Developer 1 will implement the cancel order functionality, developer 2 has to fix a bug, and developer 3 will add history and audit logging. I've also explained Claude how to use Mirrordy to run its code locally, but test out its changes by sending a request to the staging endpoint with the correct header filter. Later, for each agent, I've specified the agent name and the header filter to use. So the dev cancel feature agent is using the header filter dev agent 1, the other agent is using dev agent 2 and dev agent 3. Finally, I tell Claude what my expected workflow is, that all 3 agents should be working parallelly and they should be using Mirrordy to test their code. With my prompt ready, I'm now going to launch Claude Code. But before that, we need to enable this experimental feature of Claude Teams by setting this environment variable. Once that is done, I will start Claude Code. Now that Claude Code is up, I'm going to give it the prompt which is there in the markdown file, and we'll see what happens. So right now we see that Claude is exploring the task and understanding what it has to do. So you see now that Claude has an understanding of what each task is. It has created 3 agents, and the first agent has already started working while the other 2 are yet to start. As I said, the second agent also started working and I'm getting a code change which I'll accept. So you see now here the agent is trying to start the order service using Mirrordy, and it's asking me for permissions to execute the command, which I give it. So we see here that the bug fix agent is waiting for 30 seconds for the process to start locally using Mirrordy, and then it will send a request to test out the change. We can also see that Claude is itself making changes to the Mirrordy configuration file which it needs to do to test out its code. Here we can see that the first agent is also starting to run the service using Mirrordy. And now here we can see that it's asking permissions again to run the process using Mirrordy with the Mirrordy exec command. So I'm going to give it that. Similarly, now it's asking permissions for agent 3 to run the service locally with Mirrordy, and I'm going to hit proceed here as well. Now we see that all 3 agents are parallelly running their code which they have written using Mirrordy to test out their changes. Here we can see that after running the process with Mirrordy, it is running a test order creation by sending a request to the playground.metalbear.dev. So we see now that the first agent is already done with its task while the other two agents are still working. Here we can see that the final agent is trying to test out its code by sending a request to the staging endpoint, which is playground.metalbear.dev, and then mirrord will mirror that request back to the local agent, and it'll be able to see how its code changes are behaving, if they're working or not. So I'm going to hit proceed. Now we see that all three agents are done with their tasks and Claude is now just shutting them down. And it has also given us a summary of what all things it has worked on and how it has tested them. So we can see that all three agents worked simultaneously on the same microservice and each tested independently via mirrord using their respective header filter, which allowed them to test their code against the same Kubernetes environment instead of having to spin up individual environments for each agent. We can see the three endpoints which were added, and then it tells us that each agent created its own mirrord config with a unique XPG tenant header filter, which allowed it to isolate requests. So this was a quick demo of how you can have multiple agents not only write code, but also test their code in a production-like environment with the help of Claude Teams and mirrord for Teams. If you'd like to learn more, check out our website metalbear.com/mirrord, the link for which is going to be in the description of this video.